Ideas All Day, a podcast where we, not experts, discuss our ideas and place them into piles, such as the good ideas pile, the bad ideas pile, and the ideas pile. On this episode of Ideas All Day, today we are talking about alternative energy sources. She who went by lightning, Kate.
That was a long, long time ago. And hi.
It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. Alex.
Hi, how's it going?
Lovely. And zap, zap, zappity doodah. Me, Ajax. Hi. Oh, hey there. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
So
I think you're first this
I'm
week,
firsties.
Ajax. Yep. Firsties.
Firsties. All right. So for my alternative ideas for energy, number uno is reducing the need for energy by doing less. In a world where people always want to do more, see more, and be more, they're doing a lot. They require a lot of energy. My idea is to encourage people to do less need for energy. Then you don't need more energy and you don't need any alternative energies. Energy is not gained or I forget. There's some physics involved in energy about it being ever present. Does it go away? I forget. I don't remember any energy equations.
I'm not a scientist.
I'm not. I don't focus on energy science, so.
I'm a scientist, but I don't play one on TV.
Not surprised. But anywho, reducing the need for actually needing any type of energy. That's my first idea. For my second idea is I hang out a lot with this pet or creature called Pablo. He is my guinea pig and I live with him. He's an old man. He's really cute. But he eats a lot of hay and a lot of food in general. And he makes a lot of pellets, a lot of poop. If I could convert that poop into power, of course I'm going to need an engineer, possibly a chemist in here as well, because there has to be some kind of chemical compound to bring up that poop to make it even converted into some other type of energy. There's some conversions that need to happen that I don't quite understand, but piggy poop. That's my second alternative energy. My third idea for alternative energy is kind of on a larger scale, sort of like having a power center powered by powering a town. So like a municipality, but powered by a gym. So people can go there and donate to the power battery, and by going on the bikes, going on the equipment, all making power for that town. This is an opt-in thing, so those people who do not enjoy working out don't have to go. So you don't even have to donate if you don't want to. This is sort of just like, hey, you make it, you add it to the personal bank of the community. And you're also getting exercise as well. But if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. All right, so that was my third idea. My fourth idea is also would need an engineer as well, and possibly a communicator with other species such as soil microbes and fungi, because I would like to harness the capabilities of these magnificent creatures by using some sort of device to keep some happy microbes and fungi in. And we can make peace and create some energy, create some sparks. We can convert that into usable energy and then power. Anyway, long story short, figuring out how to convert energy into a usable sourced by microbes and fungi and soil microorganisms. And that's it.
Thanks, Ajax. I'm going to break down your ideas first.
Break
and
them, break them, break them
and
down.
pile them. So your first one, reducing the need for energy by doing less. I'm going to put this in the ideas pile because this isn't really an alternative energy source. This is more of a conservation of energy. But I like the idea because we tend to use a lot of energy on frivolous things. And a lot of times we take our car to go 3 blocks down to the store instead of just walking and things like that. So I like the idea, but is an alternative energy source? Not necessarily. So ideas pile. The Pablo piggy poop conversion. I like the idea. I would like the, if we can convert waste into energy, that would be great. So I'm going to put this in the ideas pile, leaning towards good. I don't know how we're going to do that. This is similar to one of my ideas, so I can't really poop on it too much. See what I did there? Oh.
Oh.
I made a funny.
That was
You
a
made a
terrible
poop
joke.
joke.
That was lowbrow humor.
Yeah.
We're professionals here. We don't do that. None of that nonsense.
No, not at all. So Pablo piggy poop power. Ideas leaning towards good. Power gym. Once again, this is kind of similar to an idea I have. So I'm going to definitely put this in the good pile, the good ideas pile. I went darker with this. I was thinking like maybe having prisoners do this as an option for like because you have like you can have jobs.
Yeah, you've got an enclosed environment. You've got more time to work out. I feel like it's a good idea.
Well, like prisoners have jobs and stuff. This could be one of their jobs, and it could help offset the cost of energy in the prison. And it's an idea. I like this. I like this a lot. We have a lot of ability to make power, but we don't. And the thing is, even if you did this as an optional thing, if the people who are in it, who do this power gym, I mean, there could be incentives like a discount on their electric bill, even though the power that they're making doesn't go directly to their house. It might be stored and used somewhere else. But like, I like this
incentives,
idea.
Yeah, and you can get points and then for doing so many things.
Healthier humans, which then leaves less stresses on other parts of society and such. So yeah, good ideas pile. And then your last idea, using fungus and microorganisms, soil, Johns. I'm going to lean this towards the bad ideas because I don't know where you were going with this, how this power was coming about. It's like, are you taking the dirt and then you're throwing it at a fan? And the fan then moves a turbine. Like how
if it works.
Like it was kind of lacking a lot of detail. So
there isn't a lot of detail.
Leaning towards bad, just because I like the fact that you're trying to use nature as an alternative source and not in a destructive way. I'm guessing. I don't know. I didn't get a lot of detail.
I wasn't being destructive. I was thinking a big container, but I don't know how.
Yeah. So ideas leaning towards
soil
bad.
In a box, and then
soil in a box. It's my soil in a box. Yeah, it's towards bad, leaning towards bad. And those are my pilings.
Thanks, Kate.
You're welcome, Ajax.
Alex, would you like to pile my ideas?
For your first idea, you're reducing energy by doing less. Now, mind you, before I give my grade, I love this idea because I'm a lazy bastard. I'm a lazy bastard who would gladly be a sloth, and I love it. I love it. So I'm going to put this in ideas pile because for the exact same reason Kate did as well. It's not an alternative energy source. It's a conservation of energy. It's using less energy. Is it a conservation technique? Yes. Which is why I can't put it in the bad ideas pile because it still solves this, or it doesn't solve the problem, but it still has the same result to a degree, is more energy, but through a different method or more available energy. Use very specific words. So, but it's not an alternative energy source. It's just not. So straight into the ideas pile.
Straight.
And now for your second idea, for the old Pablo poop idea. All I can imagine is just taking any sort of fecal compost and basically putting it in a box where it can ferment or like break down. And when you ever have like, compost piles, they get superheated and then they give off gas. It's like capturing that or taking the heat and using that in some way to like heat water a little bit and spin a turbine. That's all I
an
can think of.
interesting idea.
Or as an alternative, like, energy source for like heating, like alternate
Because that would
heating,
that would create a differential in temperature to.
Yeah.
I feel like there is some science that needs to happen.
But I don't know. That's an engineer's problem. So I'm going to put ideas going towards good because I think there's some potential there. But again, definitely not enough to make I'm not sure why. Now for your third idea, your power donation idea. Of course, it's going in the good ideas pile because you made it optional for exercise. Optional exercise is always appreciated. And if it's not guaranteed and it's just you're giving your own time or, for something, you want to do it to help everybody out, make your bill lower, whatever the case may be, but you're doing your part or just to exercise. I don't know, but you don't have to. So it's a good idea because it's generating electricity. It's doing the job. I can't say anything bad about it. So good idea.
Yeah.
Then for your last idea, for your microbe power, I put this one in the ideas pile mostly because I had no idea what you were talking about. Besides using microbes to generate, some sort of fuel or power. Now, the only thing I can think of with this is bioengineering some sort of microbe that can break down organic material and create carbon chains, aka or carbon chains to make things like gasoline or oil.
You're so
products.
Sciencey.
Well, it's it is something that people try and do. So it's like you're making biofuel using microbes and raw material that it can break down. So again, that would take a hell of a lot of work, a hell of a lot of science, and it has to be something that not only can break it down, make it into that, or can be made into that thing from another material, and it survives. So that's a lot of ifs and whats. Other than that, without my imagination, I had no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Me neither. It was pretty much just an alternative energy source. I was like, maybe you can get energy from there.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your pilings. All right. Next up is Creamy Kate.
Creamy Kate! The creamiest!
That's a horrible nickname. All right. Let me run down my ideas. So, like Ajax's power gym, my first idea, I wanted to use human and or animal power. So, basically like a human in a hamster wheel, a horse kicking around, a big old yoga ball that has that battery pack inside that gets charged from rolling around.
Wait, is the horse is kicking a yoga ball?
Like, you ever see like the soccer balls that if you put they're like, the more you kick it, the more power is generated and it recharges a battery. Why can't we do a bigger version for horses? Because horses love kicking balls and shit. And like, same thing with like puppies. Puppies love balls. Let them chase balls around. Like, finding ways to get energy by having fun. That, like, I like animals. I don't like abusing animals. So I don't want this to be like I'm forcing an animal to produce my energy. If I can find ways that the animal is enjoying producing energy, like kicking a ball around or chasing after a squirrel or some crazy shit, then that's how I want to generate that power. And then like human power, I was thinking more like the power gym or big like hamster wheel for human. Because like if I could work out on a treadmill and create energy and lower my electric bill, I'd rather do that than just go on a treadmill and not create energy and lower my electric bill. So that was idea number one. Idea number two, magnets. That's my idea. Magnets. So I have an idea because like there's like turbines that you need to like move. And this is super small scale. Why can't I have like a wheel? Not a wheel, like a hoop. And then on the middle is this metal disc. And on the outside is a magnet that like peeks out just a little and it wants to connect to the inner circle, but it can't because it's on a hoop. So it just keeps on moving around and around, creating this infinite free movement and energy because it's attracted to the metal disc inside. So magnets creating energy by trying to connect to a metal disc, but it can't because it's in a hoop. My second idea is cow farts. Cow farts produce methane. So if there was a way we could harness that methane, we could use that for energy. And cows are farting all the time for free. They're just out there releasing precious fuel through their farts. So if we could find a way, I need an engineer, if we could find a way to harness that without harming the cow, I would be so for that. Idea number 4. So with my magnet idea, I was thinking of turbines and how to make a move. And that got me thinking about like dams. You know, we block up water and the falling water then turns turbines to then produce energy. So I was thinking, why can't we do that with like public toilets? Like have the toilets like up on a hill and have the waste come down a long chute, which then would hit these turbines and force them to turn. So like it's just normal. We're just gonna, you know, empty the waste like we normally do, but it's coming from a high point and it's falling and forcing these turbines to turn. So shit dams. That's what I want. I want some shit
This
dams.
is a poop ramp?
It's a poop dam. And my last idea is humans get their energy through like carbohydrates and other things. But what happens when we have excess energy, excess fuel? We have fat. So fat is just stored energy waiting to be used. So why can't we use our excess fat for energy outside of our bodies? So I want to find a way where I can take my excess fat and like use it for powering my house. Because that would be a wonderful reason to get fat and eat as many biscuits as I want. Because this isn't disgusting anymore. This is money in the bank. This is energy. This is gonna go save my power bill couple hundy. And then on the flip side, you have to have like fat surgery, like fat removal, lipo. So then you get a free liposuction out of it. So yeah, fat farming. And those are my ideas.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you. Alex, why don't you pile my wonderful ideas?
All right. For your first idea, where you want to making energy fun, using fun things to make energy. I'm going to put this in the ideas going towards good because I guess, but you know, personally, I hate fun things. I like to be miserable all the time. So it just, to me, seems like, why would I do this?
That explains why you've been with the podcast for as long as you have been.
Mm-hmm. Because I like when it's miserable. I like pain and suffering and agony, especially emotional. So ideas going towards good, because technically it's functional and would work, but I don't like the fun part. Number 2, magnets. Magnets. The magic of magnets. The magic of magnets. This goes straight in the bad ideas pile because what you're trying to describe is a perpetual motion machine. The problem is there's no such thing as a perpetual motion machine because the magnets would eventually stop because you can't, because gravity is a factor. There's not enough energy being transferred between the magnets. Number 1. Number 2, the axle still has to have some form of resistance in order to create that. It's going to generate some resistance in order to create the electricity itself. So at some point, it's going to slowly, even if it goes very, very smoothly, it's still going to slow down eventually, and it's going to stop. So it can't be perpetual. So even at a small scale, it's not going to work. So bad ideas pile because one, you tried to make a perpetual motion machine. That didn't work. And two, I just don't like it. Number 3, cow farts. Sadly, I have to put this in the good ideas pile because I came up with the same idea. I literally came up with the same idea, but I did go into more detail with mine, which I'll cover in my spot, but I'll have to put in the good ideas pile because technically I came up with the same thing. And then on to number 4, your ridiculous sewage turbine thing. Again, it goes in the good ideas pile because I also thought of the same thing. Just in a different way, which I will explain in my ideas as well.
During our break, I was telling Ajax that would be like perfect in like hotels and sky rises and things like that because there's already height built in.
So yeah, I have to put in the good ideas pile because I came up with the same idea. Now for the 5th idea, the old fat farming, as you put it. What the were you talking about? What the are you referring to? You want to suck fat out of people or have them voluntarily remove it in order to use it for what are you talking? No,
Exactly.
No.
Yes.
This is
You
just
take
wrong.
the fat out of the person,
Okay,
and then convert it into an energy source.
Number 1, no, because there's no logic to that whatsoever. Yes, it's fat, and yes, there is energy that can be created for body usage, but that amount of electricity or energy may not convert in the same way for something that is used for electrical or mechanical purposes. You could use it to light a lamp. That's about, right now, with the way technology is, that's about as good as it's going to get. Otherwise, and why would you pay a doctor or have surgery to take even the cheapest liposuction possible? There's no way you would generate enough fat to have enough oil for those lamps or to heat a house. I'm sorry, but this is going straight in the bad ideas pile. It's wasteful, it's silly, and it's silly. So yeah, those are my pilings.
Thanks, Alex. Ajax, why don't you give us a rundown on my ideas, the pilings, please pile.
Gladly. So for your first idea of having balls and activities charge your apparatus, and if we can charge our phones via playing small ball, I'm in. Like, hey, let's do it. I'm in. Good ideas, pal. For your idea number 2, magnets. I put this in the ideas pile. The thing that kind of got to me where I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind saying, you know where I get my energy from? Magnets. Like, just for that. I don't really understand anything about it. And if I just had the wheel in my house and be like, what's that monster wheel doing in your house? Just spinning. Oh, that's my magnets. It's a conversation piece, but I feel like it only goes so far, hence the ideas pile. All right, so for your third idea of cow farts. So when we went to Cape May, I got this Stephen King book called, I think it's Under the Dome, where this dome goes onto the city. Well, I think we can utilize a dome to harness some cow farts. So I'll put this in the good ideas pile. So that's my idea donation to the cow farts idea, is the cow fart dome. For your fourth idea of the poop chute, I'll put it in the ideas pile for now until I see it structurally. I mean, I feel like if I want to see the highest poop chute possible, like how much velocity can you get? This could be a really good engineering challenge here of how much power can one poop make. I don't know. For your fifth idea of the fat farm, I can't see this job as very pleasant.
There's no pleasant.
Fat farmer.
This is just ridiculous.
I don't really want to be a fat farmer.
I think this is the most upset Alex has ever gotten on this podcast.
I mean, like, what can we do? Make butter out of your fat or something? Like, what?
Soap.
Kate
soap,
soap?
Tyler Durden style.
I'm just going to go dirty. I'm like, do you want to use some Kate soap?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is great Kate soap right here.
This smells just like Creamy Kate. Creamy Kate soap.
It's chicken noodle surprise.
100%.
Oh God, I forgot about the chicken noodle smell. Oh my God, I forgot.
Chicken noodle soup.
Chicken noodle scented soap.
Chicken noodle scented soap by Creamy Kate. Yes. That's not energy though. That could be after the human
ideas
workout.
pile because it's a catchy tune. So it's nice.
It's a catchy tune.
It's catchy.
What tune? Are you listening to music that we don't hear?
Just like Creamy Kate and chicken noodle soup soap.
When you're sweaty and disgusting, do you need a nice crisp feeling of chicken noodle soup scent? Come on down to Creamy Kate's Soap Emporium, where we have various of flavors of soap.
Flavors of soap.
They're 100% Kate. So come on down, get your chicken noodle soup, Creamy Kate soap for a limited time only. While supplies last.
All right. Those are my pilings.
Thank you, Ajax. Alex, if you can do so much better, let's hear your ideas.
I'm so glad you asked. So we're actually going to go back to your ideas, get those ones out of the way, the ones that we've already covered, but with a little bit more detail in some. So we're going to start with the cow farts. Number one, again, cow farts great because a lot of times they will spend excessive times in a barn, especially while they're getting milked or if they're inside for a long period of time, especially instead of being outside, but in the barn itself. Now, if it's an air sealed barn, I'll tell you a little science fact. Methane is less dense than air, so methane actually rises. So you could have it where you have a sloped ceiling, leads up into it, basically an intake that can scrub the methane out so that it can be stored and thus be used as basically a building block for an alternative energy source. So again, same idea, a little bit more detail, a little bit. And heck, why not? Obviously, similar to the Pablo poop one, can also use the refuse in the other one as a second source of a different form. Because, why not? If it's there, let's use it. I mean, obviously, you can use it for fertilizer or other things too, but, if you got it, use it. So for the next one, also your sewage turbine idea, using the waste products of bathrooms and various things to power things. So you used a very large, more of a larger gravity-fed one. And I have a similar one, but mine's actually on a smaller scale. I was thinking of actually having turbine wheels attached to the pipes themselves. So as the wastewater goes down, they spin the wheel. It wouldn't produce a lot, but if every house had one, especially on their main outtake or the main sewage pipe going, that's usually pretty much a straight up and down pipe going into the sewage one. If that one's just spinning for every time something comes down, it generates a little bit of electricity. But when you have millions upon millions of houses in the US or various first world countries that would have access to these materials, that could generate quite a bit. Maybe not huge amounts, but anything that can help alleviate the energy solution is still a good thing. So those are my personal takes on that. Now, I have a third idea, kind of similar to ones you guys brought out, and that's having gym generators. Instead of wasting their time at the gym like they normally would by exercising for their health, they might as well, and just literally pedaling on the stationary bikes or ellipticals, why not attach those instead of using the resistance of the machine that is created just to create exercise, use the resistance that would come up with generating electricity. Because whenever you are using one of those and have it to make electricity, it's got to spin something. It's got a turbine or it's got, something that's going to generate the electricity. And it needs resistance in order to do that effectively. So why not utilize people's wasted time to do something effective rather than for their health, quote unquote. So that's number 3. Number 4 is actually using thermoelectric generators, specifically in factories like with smokestacks or that create a lot of excess heat that typically is just expelled out of the building. So if you have, let's say, a smokestack or something that is meant to just basically get heat away into the atmosphere just to get it out of the, away from the factory. What you could do is have the inner layer smokestack just what it traditionally is. On an hour later, probably closer to the base, you have your thermoelectric generators, which work by a heat gradient, usually with going from high to low or low to high. But you have that the difference in heat can create electricity using these particular generators. So these excess heat can basically go into the generator because it's either the other half of the generator either has air or maybe just a coolant like water on the other side that's just stationary. That temperature gradient creates electricity using those types of generators. Again, it may not be huge, but again, this is heat that's just being wasted and going out into the atmosphere. So let's utilize it to either power the factory at the very least, even a little bit, or go back into the grid. Now, number 5, another thing that's really just a total waste on society that we really need to take more advantage of that have huge amounts of energy, but don't really do much for us. And that's children. So what we should do is have children for like an hour a day, let's say at recess, we're going to call it, put them in hamster wheels, giant ones, and just make them run. You know, that could be gym class, that could be recess, but kids love to run. And it helps basically make them be a bit more useful for society. And they love it. And 1, it's not hurting any animals because there's no animals doing this. It's just kids. And 2, they're just kids. Nobody cares about kids. It's fine. And for my last idea, I'm sure all of us have seen the pictures of solar towers where you have the mirrors that, especially this happens in the desert a lot, where you have the mirrors that go around like a big central tower that point up to a central point. They catch the sun, and then all the light points at the top of the tower to basically boil or heat up a liquid or water, I think is how it works. And that is used to power a turbine. So basically the steam that's created. So why not we take this up a notch? So instead of having these mirrors on the ground, let's put the mirrors in space. I want satellite mirrors that will take sunlight, unrestricted sunlight. So no, you don't have to worry about cloud cover. You don't have to worry about, unless another body of, planetary body gets in the way. You have unrestricted access to the sun that then reflects it onto a single point in a very narrow beam into a single point on the Earth that does exactly the same thing. Heats that water that it's going to generate steam to spin a turbine. So, and that's a little bit more macro scale. But those are all my ideas.
Thanks, Alex. Ajax, why don't you pile Alex's ideas first?
All right. So for your first idea of cow farts, of course, this is going to go in the good idea pile because you also gave us tips and tricks that methane rises. So we learned today. So thank you for that tidbit.
You're welcome. I'm all about the educational experience here on the Ideas All Day podcast.
Says the person who calls us nerds all the time is going to sit there and say he's all about the educational aspect of this podcast. I just wanted to
He's a closet nerd.
No, I'm not.
I
don't read because I'm not a nerd.
He just likes education.
Nope.
He's a nerd. He's joined us. We infected him.
Guess what? I'm not a nerd because I learned everything on the streets.
Which
I learned
one?
it in the School of Hard Knocks. That's the street.
Everybody goes to that school.
Including that methane is less dense than air. Everybody on the streets knows that.
They would.
Yeah.
So 1.5 cow poop. I mean, if you have it, use it. Yeah, I go by that statement. That's a good ideas pile for me. So that's double good ideas pile for that one idea of cow excrement in various physical stages. So for your second idea of the sewer turbine, I didn't understand your spinny wheel.
Well, you know what a water wheel is, right?
Yes, and that's it. It's just like the
just
poop is falling onto the wheel to make it spin.
And it makes it spin, thus creating enough resistance that generates a little bit of electricity. But it's meant to be small scale individually, but on a large scale across the board with all the different sewage pipes essentially to be attached to. So it's a small amount of electricity across a large area.
No. Okay, I'm going to put this into the All right, I'm gonna put this in the ideas pile, leaning towards good, because it might assist in the poop tube in Kate's idea. But the only thing that I'm concerned about is the maintenance of the spinning wheels, because like, what if there's a really hard poop that gets stuck, or like something lodges within the spinning wheel and you have to maintenance it, and it better be a good model that you can get into there to remove your spinning wheel turbine.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. So essentially what you would do is, have you ever seen the cast iron pipes in the bottom of buildings that typically are used for sewage outlets?
Yes. No.
So what? Oh,
I can just imagine. I'm imagining it.
So I'll give like the example of my house. I have the main sewage outlet is basically comes from all comes into one point and goes down a vertical cast iron pipe. So what I'm proposing to do is you cut, and it's maybe I would say about like 6 inches in diameter. It's a pretty good size, because again, it's meant to get everything that goes down. You know, it's not meant to clog it all. If you clog that sucker, you're doing some damage. So what I'm proposing to do, is maybe about 4 or 5 feet up from the ground. Again, this is usually maybe a 6 or 7 foot tall, pipe that you have access to, but towards the like 4 feet range, you cut a hole on the side of it, which is where you're going to install your water wheel. Now, the water wheel itself is probably going to extend outside of the pipe itself. So you're going to have another covering that goes on the outside that you have like basically something that latches onto it. So it still completes a seal, because you have to have a seal, because you do not want to leak sewer gas. You can't, if you do that, that's very dangerous. So having a tight seal and that latches onto itself, whether welded into or not, but it's something that can still be removed if necessary to get into it, access the wheel, replace it as needed. So it's something that shouldn't have to be, once you get it installed, should only occasionally need to be replaced with like a new wheel, new parts, but a relatively easy to access. But you just got to make sure those seals are good. That's kind of the only thing, because you do not want sewer gas leaking. That is bad news bears.
I'm okay. That is good. So I'm still going to go ideas lean towards good, but thank you for the maintenance update, because that is a big factor in it. And I'm just scared of the sewer gas now.
That's fair enough.
Okay. For your gym generator, please explain to me your resistance again. I sort of didn't understand the resistance part of it.
So when you go to a gym, you know how when you're especially on like the ellipticals or on the stationary bikes, you increase the resistance in order to get more. So it's a little bit harder and you get more gains, as it were.
Ajax.
Exactly. So, but instead of having that kind of resistance where it's just creating it itself, you are essentially turning a turbine itself, which has some level of resistance to it anyways. I mean, here's a good example. Have you ever had those winding radios that you wind itself to recharge it? It's a little bit of a workout to get that. Now we're on the radio. It's a small scale one. We're talking larger. So you're going to have some resistance with that, just because you got to get it spinning and keep it spinning to generate the electricity. Similar to the magnets idea is where it's coming from. I didn't want to say magnets because I don't want to give her it's not perpetual. That's the only thing I'm saying. This is not perpetual, but that, going across, having a magnet go across it does generate electricity, which is how turbines, very basic, how turbines work.
Okay, cool. Well, ideas lean towards good in this one. I will stick it in there as well. Thank you. That's an idea. And then Thermoelectric Generators, the smokestack with the heat grater, where you can use the waste heat. Well, yeah, I'm all about using your waste heat. That's a good ideas pal right there. Use your waste. Good. For 5, putting children in a hamster wheel. Yeah, totally. That's a good idea. Just put them in the hamster wheel. And I was thinking, like, you can have different funtivities on the wheel to make them go, like rock climbing things if you wanted to, or like different setups. Because I would do that rock hamster wheel. I'll have my own if you want.
I mean, I suppose you could, but really,
different apparatuses within your hamster wheel, like a German wheel. That would be fun. Where it's got like a circular wheel, a sear wheel, like how the circus performers use. Those will be fun. I'm all for wheeling.
I'm for wheeling and dealing.
I'm in. And if we also do it for children too.
Yes, for the children.
We make the children do it as well. I don't want my wheel anywhere near the children's though.
No, adults can't go on these wheels. This is for children only.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, let's go in the bad ideas pile because I want my own wheel.
You can have your own wheel. I don't care about that, but this wheel's for the children.
Well, then bad ideas pile.
Fine, whatever.
Okay. And then for your mirrors in space, I just completely, all I can imagine is mirrors just like burning up a city alive, like, and these like flames shooting out because they just forgot to get checked. You know, Bobby, he forgot to check the angle of the mirror. He was off by
Damn it, Bobby.
a degree. And there goes Chicago because the light bounced off the beam.
I just want to know who this irresponsible Bobby guy is.
He was hired.
Damn it, Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby.
He just set Chicago on fire again.
Damn it, Bobby, you set Chicago on fire again.
Jeez. I feel like, I mean, it's an idea, but it's kind of leaning towards bad. I'm not going to go full-blown bad idea because it's got mirrors in space, and that's badass. So, ideas
don't understand science because you're a nerd.
And those are my pilings.
What about you, Kate? What do you think of my ideas?
I am going to run down these bad boys pretty damn quick. Cow farts. Yes. Good ideas, Pile. I like your explanation. You did a better
Don't lick
explanation
my
than me.
explanation. Did you just say you're going to lick the explanation?
No, I said I liked your explanation.
Oh, I thought you said lick your explanation.
I am going to lick that methane-filled explanation. No, I really liked how you explained it and how you're going to harvest the methane. So yeah, I really like this idea. Good ideas, Pile. Sewage turbine. Yes. Like it. Love it. Good ideas. Gym energy. Yes. I have to put this in a good ideas pile. Thermoelectric generator. This, how you explained it, is going into the good ideas pile. I'm wondering if we can make a thermoelectric generator suit for Ajax, because she produces so much body heat, and then we can harvest her heat as energy. And then if we figure that out, then we can put these suits on the people in the power gym, because they're going to be kicking some heat off while they're working out and get double energy. So that's my like additional little caveat, not caveat, like a little add-on to your thermoelectric generator idea. Idea number 5, children. I'm going to put this in the ideas pile leaning towards good, not exactly for the how you explain the idea, but I like the idea of having children work out and being able to use their energy to create energy. But I kind of like the idea of using it as almost like sweat equity. A lot of kids today live and breathe media, TV, tablets, internet, phones. It would be nice to be like, listen, you can't use your tablet until you charge it. So you got to go on this little hamster wheel and charge your tablet up using that. So every hour on the wheel gets you like 3 hours on the tablet, or every hour on the wheel gets you an hour on the tablet, or something like that, to like break up the amount of time they're actually on their devices. So yeah, it's a good idea. Kids are full of energy, so this is a great idea, and it's a great way to keep them moving and to realize the benefits of like staying healthy and in shape. So yeah, good idea. And your last idea, your satellite in space with a focused beam of light onto a little tiny thing of liquid to boil it. This is going in the bad ideas pile.
What?
This is straight into the bad ideas pile. I can see just like a piece of space junk hitting this mirrored thing, and all of a sudden, you know, Arizona's on fire, Chicago's on fire, everything's on fire. People getting laser beamed from space.
Yeah.
So
it's not lasers.
It would be it's a concentrated beam of light.
That's not a laser.
What is a laser?
That's not. Lasers have the photons are going in a single direction, whereas a normal laser or a what we're talking about. You're a nerd because you need to learn science.
Nerd.
Look, I learned this all in the streets. You got to understand this stuff.
Listen, Listen, you don't know the street life like I do. You don't know what photons in a single line
Get your
are
photons
compared
right.
to like a bunch of photons all willy-nilly scattered around into a beam of light.
You don't know.
Bad idea.
You guys think this isn't like no. You guys just don't understand.
Bad.
You guys are too much of a nerd to understand how science works.
We're too concerned about being, I don't know, lasered to death, but not laser. Point of light burnt to death.
Better.
Yeah, no, I don't want that kind of heat on me.
You can't stand the heat. Stay out of the concentrated beam of light.
So that's what I'm trying to do. That's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now. So bad idea.
You're wrong.
And those are my pilings.
They're bad pilings.
We should probably thank our listeners.
Thank you, listeners, for not listening to Kate's pilings of my ideas, because we all know my ideas were great, and she's just wrong because she's a nerd.
And Alex is also a nerd.
Thank you for listening. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, Apple, Stitcher, Anchor, anywhere you can find podcasts. If you're using a podcasting platform and you cannot find our podcast, please let us know at ideasalldaypodcast@gmail.com so that we can remedy that situation, rectify that situation. We have a Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel. We are on Instagram at Ideas All Day Podcast. If you have any ideas for any upcoming episodes, you can email us at ideasallday.podcast@gmail.com. But yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It's not a laser. It's a concentrated beam of light.
Nerd.
Nerds.